Might not open the chat room again tonight, but for those who are sitting in late and waiting for me to open the chat room, the submentals, those of you who might want to come in the chat room, pay no attention to those people. We get a lot of demented people when we're doing this broadcast, so that has its every good thing has a bad thing that comes along with it. But if you are in a supreme state of mind, then good and bad really don't weigh out in your life, right? These are a series of things that just happen in your life, good and bad. Depends on how you look at them. If you look above them, all things that happen in your life, be they good, be they bad, you should always ask or weigh them. What's the reason for this? You should always look for the lesson in that, or what it is that you can grow with that mentally, how you can grow with the things that happen to you, good in life and bad in life. You should always be constantly thinking. You should never get caught up in the moment of things being bad or things being good. You should always think, how can I grow with this? Because that's the real reason why you experience so-called good things that happen to you and bad things that happen to you. They were all meant to be obstacles to either conquer or move beyond or move past and, start a thinking process in your mind to progress beyond these things, to develop you, to develop your mental, right? It was man and woman, and, just people in general, people want a submental way of thinking that started to define good things and bad things, when in actuality you have really logical and illogical things, right? Logical and illogical. There's no real such thing as good or bad. There's logical and there's illogical. Things that fall beneath the mental, as in the submental. And the people in the submental were the ones who created the idea of God and the devil. Superstitious people. People who were trapped in that whole mindset of duality, right? There was something that the Greeks and Romans and all these people who came across our ancient ancestors did when they found out, why we were building on such a vast scale, and why we were, what we were in tune with, what how did we think, what did we do with our rituals, and they came across Amen and the Tiru and all these, and Nunaki or whatever. They came across the supreme beings, or our acknowledgement of the supreme being and ourselves as being in the image of those supreme beings. Our ancestors, they didn't have a word for the devil. They didn't have a word for evil, and they really didn't have a God and devil thing going, right? They talked about Amen, right? And even certain people made Amen, the religious people started to make Amen a deity or a god, right? And that was the language of the submentals. So they had to create, as they were bringing out religion, a devil. They took the attributes of Amen, or those supreme people, or those supreme beings, those advanced beings. They took the attributes based on the accounts they heard of these people. They took the accounts of Amen, those Amen beings, and because they didn't know how to mesh those together when they wanted to start religions up, when they wanted to start up your Christianity and things like that, and they needed stories to build on. Like, for example, your story of creation that, goes into the with the Sumerians and the Anunnaki, or the Anunnaki. And, the story of creation was much more graphic than the Bible presented. But you could tell the Bible took from that story. You could tell the Bible took from the whole Anunnaki story, and they softened it. In the Anunnaki story and the Anunnaki account of how humans were created and why they were created, it straight up tells you that they were created to be slaves. Straight up tells you that. That's what the human race was for. It was created to be slaves. Who are your human race? Who is the human race? The human race are as follows. Your human race are your East Indians, your Chinese, your Orientals, your Japanese, and your Caucasians, your white people. That's your human race. The people who are known as Anunnaki, Neteru, and who we refer to as Amen today, their descendants are the so-called black race, who are the people who are falsely called the black race, right? People who are celestial beings, right, who came to Earth and seeded a life or an artificial life form in the water. They seeded artificial life forms in the water. A human race. They were a celestial race called Amen race, right? You see the correlation in man that begat man. These are all man or natural man species and woman species that begat artificial human species. You know, people that were created in the water. Now, the accounts of these people when they created this human race and they spread their genetic through the account of the 200 fallen messengers here, the ones who came from the future and from different worlds, or that advanced world that they referred to in the Sumerian as Nibiru, or we refer to as the planet Amen. When they came here into this state of the planet Earth, they were doing things that would be considered bad, things that would be considered good, you know, agreeable, as Dr. York used to say, and disagreeable, right? They were, you know, they couldn't sync up these accounts to make these creators good people, because they wanted to present the creators as good people, all good people, right? They wanted to present them as all good. And this belief, in order for you to present a people or a deity or a higher being or a god, you have to present a devil. In order to make him look all good, you have to present someone who's all bad, right? Someone who is evil. Because how do you know what's good if there's not an opposite to show you what's bad, right? So they took the accounts of these Anunnaki, these Amen beings, and because they couldn't make the mesh, they couldn't understand how one minute these people would be doing this, you know, creating life and doing this, and then they would be killing people in the next minute and destroying people in the next minute. That didn't mesh well in the biblical story they wanted to tell. So what did they do? They split the personalities, good and evil, God and the devil, right? And they softened the story in the book of Genesis where they were no longer slaves. They were called, humans were called servants, which I said is the same thing, right? They weren't made to work. They were, you know, God blew into them the breath of life and this, that, and the third, and man became a living soul, right? Now, I said that in order for them to produce a people who are following a religious belief, philosophy, things like that, you have to get them into a what's the word I want to use? A spiritual mindset, right? You have to get them into a mystery-like mindset. What's the word I want to say? I'm at a loss for this word here, but it has to be like a spiritual mindset, hypnotic mindset, one that's based in mystery, right? One that's based in the flow of that whole consciousness and spiritual mindset. You have to get people ingratiated in that in order to push your doctrine and your belief ahead over on people. How do you do that? You make God, this new God you created, invisible, right? And then you make the devil invisible. And then you say that these attributes are in men and women, right? You don't teach that these are nothing but attributes. These are nothing but different energies or, you know, vibrations on how they deal with things, or how they deal with people. Behavior, good, bad, you know, attitudes. You don't present them like that. You make them beings. You make somebody all the way bad, and then you make somebody else all the way good, right? You split apart real people, and you create a dualistic, you create dualistic personalities, right? Personalities housed in persons, people, good, bad, God, devil, right? That's how religion was created. These are personalities of people, God and the devil, right? They're housed in black people, good and evil, just as in white people and anybody else on the planet. But the people who were supreme people, they moved by intellect. They moved by chosen sense. They moved by intelligence. They moved by purpose, reason. Their whole purpose for everything, their whole focus was reason, rationale. They're not good people. They're not bad people. They're rational people. Everything they do is calculated. That's how almond beings move, right? We're going to talk about that in great detail tonight, how we were given that spiritual mindset and, given the watered-down spiritual version of the true and living supreme power, the true and living force, the true and living solar being, Amen. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkares, and this is State of Mental Radio, and tonight we're talking about God and the devil and that watered-down spiritual version, or how they are watered-down spiritual versions of the solar being, Amen. Amen is not a god or a spook god or any other things, right? We are Amen. We represent Amen in physical form. Amen is a race, a continuous bloodline, one race, right? We are descendants of this Amen race, just as there is a human race. There is a Amen race, and we have those who walked amongst us in our future ascension or our ascendancy, who were, of course, supreme beings, advanced people, right? People who came back in our time frame and showed us how to build, how to think on a higher level, how to advance and set up structures and governments and things of that nature. Now, they were called supreme beings or gods or deities, right? These were people. And the accounts of their lives were used to create the stories of the Bible. God, angels, devil, all of this. All that was done to create these accounts, the accounts of real people. They had to get people spiritually in tune in rituals or special rituals in order for them to accept this teaching, right? They had to get people spiritually tuned in. So when people say, I don't believe in God and the devil, brother, I'm spiritual, then you still believe in God and the devil. Because spirituality is a flow of thought. Spirituality is a flow of thought that gets people in a hypnotic trance, right? What do I mean by that? What I mean is spirituality gets people thinking in a submental circle or form, right? Everybody on the planet who is in a submental state is spiritual. What do I mean? They follow rituals or special rituals in some way, shape, or form. They follow a ritualistic way of thinking in circles, in patterns, which they call the circle of life, right? You can only do that, you can only get people to do that where they're not thinking or opening their mind up to receive higher thought by telling them that there is a God and there is a devil that limits your movability or your way of thinking, that you have boundaries and barriers on your thought, and you already have it. There's no thinking outside this God and devil mentality, right? Even when you accept metaphysics, that's still God and the devil, right? When you accept Egyptology, when you accept Pan-Africanism, all that, that's still based in God and the devil. How so? Because that whole idea of limited thinking, right, flows right along with the spiritual thought. And the spiritual thought, the foundation of spiritual thought is always going to be God and the devil, limited thoughts, right? They all flow in a ritualistic mindset. When you say Africa, when you say Egypt, when you say metaphysics, those are thoughts that move in a rotation. They are laws and principles to these thoughts. which means there are boundaries. And who is the keeper or the keeper of boundaries? God and the devil. That's how that's meant to flow with the people. Got a call early. I'm going to take the first call. 512, you on there? 512.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, go ahead. You coming in broken up, go ahead.
I'm on the cell phone right now. I'm just making sure you can hear me, but I got a lot of my people sitting out here listening to the conversation. I told you I'm going to call you talking some serious stuff to you, brother. It's Mike Rich, Austin, Texas, again. I like what you're saying. It is the truth. You have nobody could really challenge you on what you're saying. But you know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to come talk to you about some more powerful shit or stuff. I didn't want to, but excuse me for my language. But at the same time, man, I hear what you're saying. But like I say, I'm in Austin, Texas, brother. And with what you're saying, the question that I really have for you is this like a centralized thing? Like, cause you in New York, right?
You broke up a little bit. Say it again. I heard centralized. What was the next thing you said?
I said you like, I'm asking if this is like a centralized thing or this like a network thing, like, because you were based in New York. Because like last weekend I got on some crazy stuff. Me and a few of my brothers, we was gonna go to New York just on the weekend to have a real because your last broadcast and episodes, yes, the demons were out. And I'm kind of disappointed that you spoke a name because I follow this guy, King Noble, you know what I'm saying? I see where his mind at, but then at the same time, you said some shit that I kind of said about him. Like, you, because he's the leader of these people, you know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, it's like, it's something just ain't all the way right. But, because I spoke with this guy before. I'm trying to see all right, I like what you're saying, but then I'm not just trying to get my mind blown. I want to see these actions. Like, you speaking real logical stuff right now. And because you're telling it.
Your cell phone breaking up. Hello? Yeah, it was breaking up. Yeah, okay, now I hear you. Got it.
What was the last part you caught?
You said I'm speaking logical stuff right now. What was after that? Okay, got it.
Yeah, you speaking logical stuff, but you have no proof. Like, and I'm not challenging you because I respect you, because religion, they was spending a lot of illogical stuff.
You breaking up. It's coming and broken up. You said, okay, I heard. I have no proof, and now what? Now I'm sorry.
Man, my reception is high right now, man, because it's trying to get broken up because I'm talking some real stuff right now. But like I said, you talking logical stuff, but you have no proof. And, like, that's why nobody really challenged you on it.
Well, here's the thing. Logic is the proof. See, this is the problem with our people. Let me. This is the problem with our people. When they say you have no proof, what they really want to hear is the white man say it. That's really what that means. Because if the white man will say anything, and all he got to do is just, be a white man with a DR in front of his name or a PhD or nothing, and black people, they accept it. It don't even have to make sense, right? Like when we're going to talk about the rhesus monkey on Wednesday and this thing where you got black, so-called conscious black people arguing about this is where white people come from, the rhesus monkey, and then you got some other people talking about black people come from white people come from albino black people, and I'm just going to dispel that myth and break it down logically how that can't be true.
All right? I feel y'all. Yeah, I got you. Because like I say, I'm not bashing you, brother. I respect it. You have no proof, but you said it already.
Are you breaking up your phone? It's coming in bad, brother. I'm trying to hear you. Reception coming in bad.
Hey, bro, can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. Come on. So let me see.
Hey,
try again.
I'm finna say what I have to say, and I'm gonna try to call back later and shit, because it's real quick. But like I say, because you was right on the money. Like I say, because the people are really wondering. It's like you have no proof, or they think you have no proof, but then at the same time, you just said it. You summed it up. Because religion is all half the majority of the stuff that's been written in these Bibles and these books is illogical, and they just want people to accept that that's how you.
Your reception is terrible, brother. I mean, maybe you could call back. Try to call back from a landline or get to a better spot because you coming in really broken.
I got you, bro. I'm gonna call you back because I'm gonna call you back when I got a better connection because this needs to be heard for the people. So, because some of these questions are for the people. I'm gonna call you back from a landline, brother. It's a 512 number though.
Okay, no problem. All right.
All right now.
I'll be it. All right. Like I said, the proof is the logic. The logic in what's being said. See, the problem with our people is the so-called black man is that he has no exercise in thinking. Not saying the brother, no disrespect to the brother who I was just listening. I was just saying black people in general. When they say, "Oh, what's the proof?" You really you want me to say, "Okay, here goes what the white man saying." In other words, I, as a so-called black man, can't logically think and display something that makes sense because I said when you're dealing with intelligence, I don't care what level it's on, it's always supposed to make sense. And black people are so used to being fed lies and beliefs and mystery and spirituality and rituals and things like that from the whole God and devil principle that it's messed up the logic in our way of thinking. It has destroyed logic totally, right? We've been fed mystery upon mystery, and we just accepted religion. We accepted metaphysics. We accepted all these things, never questioned them because they came from the white man. They came from somebody else that didn't look like us. So they must know more than us. That's how we was thinking. And we still think like that. People say, you don't have any proof. I said the logic is the proof. Listen to the brother say. He said what you're saying is logical. It makes sense. Obviously, I couldn't do radio broadcasts like this and hold the attention of so many people if it wasn't making sense what I was logically saying. You can go and challenge any one of these other people who doing this whole, speaking and doing radio broadcasts, and what they say don't logically make sense if you have if you know how to ask certain questions that just don't add up. Now, people are so big on mathematics and things adding up, then that means that your line of logic or the statements you're making is supposed to line up as well. If they're not lining up, then you accepted somebody's beliefs, or you just straight up telling lies. Then that's stories. Accounts, accounts are real, logical things or things that took place. So we're talking about things that took place. It's plausible and rational. That's why I said we have to go from this whole mindset of nationalism into a rational mindset. Thinking again, reasoning. What makes sense? The truth is that which makes sense. I don't care how far out it seems. We have to go with what makes sense. The whole idea of God and the devil doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. And you are able to take when you break things apart, right? And you don't put things together based on rationale and reasoning, then of course it's not going to make sense. Of course, somebody was going to give you a religion or ritual or special rituals to follow, and it's not going to make sense. You're just going to follow because they're trying to induce a ritualistic mindset in you. In other words, a mindset that requires no real thinking, right? In order for you to become a spiritual person, you have to throw logic out the window. You have to throw intelligence out the window. In order for you to accept God and the devil, you have to throw all of that out of the window. You have to throw thinking out of the window. That's why you got our people moving around, believing in fantasy and fairy tales and all kinds of made-up beliefs, right? And there's no real thought process behind what they're saying because black people, all they've done is accept the philosophies and theories of people. And it was based on nothing logical. That's all our people did. That's how they were. That's why you got black Christians, black Muslims, black Israelites, black Pan-Africanists, black this, black that, because it's still all based in a God-devil principle, right? Our people, when I say our people have become reactionary, that's based on the God and the devil thing. Why do I say that? When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching about a lot of the movements we ended up going into, right? Like Pan-Africanism, Islam, and all the things we went into when we gathered as so-called, quote-unquote, black people, whether we was going as Garveyites, Moors. Why were we doing that? We were doing that because we were reacting to white people. We were reacting to the injustices that we got in this country based on white people. And to the point we started referring to white people as devils, right? And we started referring to ourselves as gods. So that whole God-devil principle was working even in the organizations and movements and beliefs we accepted. That was there. It was present. So much so that we didn't see the negative people amongst ourselves. We didn't see the bigger picture beyond us and them, us against them. We didn't see the bigger picture beyond that, right? Because all we kept saying, God and the devil. We were used to looking at things in a dualistic mindset, an adverse or adversary type mindset, good, bad. This either got to be good or this got to be bad, right? It's all or nothing. That's the mindset we had. We didn't take into account the thinking on a one rationale. We didn't take into account the thinking on a one supreme mindset that encompasses all these things. And the utilization of these things is based on what? Rationale. Reason. Why are you doing that? Why did you kill that person? Why did you take from that person? Why did you teach that person that? Why are you going to school to do this? See, why wasn't applied in half of the things we do as black people? Why is not there? You understand? Why is not there? Meaning reason is not there. Why are we following the Bible? Why are we following the Quran? Why are we following the Torah, whatever, or the, whatever the people follow in the Israelite thing? Why? Why are we wearing beards on our faces? Why do we got hair on our backs? Why are we doing these things? Who said we had to do that? Right? That's when thinking comes into play. That's when reason comes into play. Right? Why are we believing these stories about God and the devil, and how is this relevant in our lives moving into the future? How does this whole thing apply to us? This God and devil business. See, when you start asking questions, rationale is applied. Then you have to start thinking. Then you start finding out the truth as you start to think, and you think a little deeper. See, the people who are still caught in the whole God and devil thing, they don't want that, right? The people who are caught in it, religion, philosophy, culture, they don't want you to start asking why. Like that Jadakiss song, I should have put that in the feed, music feed. Why? That's a good song to play tonight. Why? Why are we doing this? See, when people ask me why do I say amen, why do I say this, notice I have an answer for everything, and it's a logical answer. Like the brother said, I make sure it is a logical answer. Why we don't wear hair on our faces? Why we wear hair in short naturals and we don't wear long hair? Why we keep saying amen? Why in the name of amen? Why do we do this? Because Amen represents us as a race of omni beings, limitless beings, beings that have moved beyond the boundary of good and bad. That's where we're supposed to be going. That is a submental dualistic principle of good and bad. Our only foundation is why, rationale. Why are we doing this? If you can't tell me why you did that, if your actions make no sense, that's how you're judged. You're judged mentally by your actions. That's how the supreme beings work. That's what the white man copied from us, how he does his just so-called justice system. What does he call his court, that highest court in the land? The Supreme Court, right? And their whole thing of breaking down and factoring out the law is they always ask when they're trying to solve a case or why something happened, what happened. They always trying to find why. Why? What's the reason? They're always trying to get to the reason behind something, because based on when you get to the reason behind something, right, then you get to the truth. When you get to the logic of something, then you get to the truth. See, our people don't do that, right? Our people don't do that. Our people just accept whatever sound good or whatever we want to hear, because we still got a childlike. A lot of our people, unfortunately, got a childlike mentality, and that was induced in us. That childlike, immature mentality was induced in us by introducing God and the devil, unrealistic characters from a real person, right? A person that's all good versus a person that's all bad. When 5%ers let say, oh, the black man is God, he and the white man's the devil or whatever. The black man is good by nature, and the white man's bad by nature. I'm like, really? That's I don't think so. People want to justify why the black man is doing what he's doing in the hood, shooting up people, doing whatever things he's doing, or people want to justify why everybody, all white people are bad. I don't think so. That's not even rational. That's not rational thinking, right? Every black so-called black man is not good, just like every white person is not bad. Every woman ain't bad. Every woman isn't negative or whorish, right? Just like every woman ain't a goddess, so-called goddess or supreme deity, whatever the sisters call themselves, put themselves on the pedestal. Everybody's not like that. You have different personalities. Same way you have a personality housed in one person, good and evil. That's all in an omni being, an eternal being that's moving forward continuously. What separates us from those who move on a submental, who still move in that dualistic mindset of God and the devil, is that we know and we think above and beyond that. We know the difference. The true person who has an Amen mentality, an omni mentality, a continual mentality, a continual mind, is that he knows or she knows that good and bad are the same things. Same thing. God and the devil, same person. Good and bad, love and hate, same thing. Two opposite sides of the coin are actually one whole coin, right? That's like me cutting a penny or a quarter in half, right, and saying that's good and that's bad, but it's still the same coin. You don't deal with the coin as a whole. You deal with halves of it. You create this dualistic idea or mindset and create characters and deities, and you tell people that this is the reason, this is the reason why you doing this, and this is the reason why you doing that. Because the devil made you do it, because God made you do it. You God, black man. The white man's the devil. Right? You create that idea. And we in the state of mental, I did the same thing. I did the same thing in trying to bridge the gap of Amen as God, and that was wrong for me to do that. Because in the beginning, I didn't want to use the whole God title, because I didn't want to keep us leveled in that whole submental mindset of God and the devil. Because as we are advancing and we're moving out of that whole spiritual idea, that whole spiritual practice, even the word of spirituality, we're moving out of that. And we becoming and we starting to realize who we truly are. And that is solar beings, people who carry souls, and that the Amen exists in us as eternal beings who carry the eternal light of intelligence in us. As we starting to realize who we are, and that the future progeny or bloodline that moves through us is producing that supreme race, are the creators of this planet, are the creators of the solar system, are the creators of the universe as solar beings, then spirituality goes out the window. All rituals go out the window. And there's only reception. There's only light reception. Amen is a race of all powerful beings, and we are its descendants. We are their descendants, and they are our ascendants, our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. It is a bloodline, a God race, or as you want to call it. And like I said, we're not even using the word God anymore in the state of mental. A supreme race, right? An advanced race, a people who are thinking beyond the ritual, beyond the spiritual, beyond the hypnotic flow of submental thinking, because that's all spirituality was meant to produce, a submental flow of limited thinking, superstition, right? You got grown men sitting up here talking about somebody living under the ground and somebody living on a cloud. Grown people believe in that, right? Can you imagine? Grown people believe in that. Grown men sitting up here talking about somebody under the ground with horns out of his head and a pitchfork fighting with somebody sitting on a cloud in a white robe. Grown men. You're able to induce that kind of spiritual mindset or that nonsense in people by dumbing them down, by telling them that these two attributes are actually living characters, living people, selling them a story, getting them to believe you, and telling them not to apply logic to your stories. You can apply logic to Amen because it exists in a people. Amen exists as a people, as a race. Just like there's a human race, there's an Amen race. The Amen beings begat the human beings. It's a race of people. This race of quote-unquote deities, gods, supreme beings, whatever mankind called them, walk the planet, talk to people. That's people with personalities, good and bad, housed in one body, just like you have good and bad housed in you, or different attributes housed in you. Sometimes you might be feeling like being good and benevolent, and sometimes you might feel like being malevolent. That's all housed in you. Now, if I split you in half and I say, well, I'm not dealing with you as a whole person. I'm going to only deal with you as God and the devil. Then I made you incomplete. Then when I make you incomplete, when I'm able to split the stories open, or I'm able to alter the stories or the intelligence or the essence of the accounts that took place, the real accounts that took place, if I'm able to split them in half and take certain things out and move this over here and say, I'm not going to keep this, I'm only keep this, then I'm able to add things in. I'm able to water down the truth. I'm able to water down the true intelligence of this supreme being or the supreme force of beings. I'm able to water it down. I'm able to sell it and soft soap it and make it spiritual so I can get more people to swallow this garbage. So I can get them to swallow Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Moorish science, all this stuff. Because if you come in the name of any of these things, then you believe in the God principle. Don't try to tell me you remixed it, because it's the God principle. That's why I said we moved on. I was using God, and like I said, you see on my post I use the word God in reference to Amen because I was trying to bridge the gap between the older people that was caught in religion, who was seeking it, and the younger people who were tired of religion, who want the truth. And you know what? Some bridges just can't be, closed. Some bridges just can't. The gaps just can't be closed. So you take the people, no matter what the age range, who are open to hear this intelligence, to hear this truth, to hear this logic, and you move forward with them. The people who still want to be dealing with God and the devil and this battle, and what the black man is God and the white man is the devil, or just the whole God and devil dualistic principle back and forth. The people who still caught in that mind frame, who still stagnant in their way of thinking, who still caught up in these old books, you got to leave them where they're at. Because there's meant to be a people who are going to evolve on a higher level of thinking, who are going to accept this intelligence as omni beings, Amen beings, or omni beings, or whole complete beings. Those who have attributes of malevolent and benevolent, and who are moving forward. Not people who are going to split in half by way of this spiritual mindset of dualistic principles of, God and the devil, and, I'm fighting a battle between the good me and the bad me. It's all the same person. We woke up. We have to accept, right, the rationale of who we are as complete people. Sometimes I feel like, being good. Sometimes I don't. But will always be this. Sometimes I might do things people don't understand, but it's based always in logic, rationale. That's the only foundation. That is the only judge or the judgment call that I make. Why did I do this? What was the rationale behind what I did? If I put my hands on somebody, there's a rationale for why I did it. to defend myself, protect myself, my family. If I take somebody's life, there was a rationale for why I did it. To protect myself, protect my family. Right? There's always supposed to be a rationale behind what you do. That's the judgment. If you're doing things and there's no rationality behind it, then you fall in the whole God and devil thing again. You fall right into that submental mindset. You start saying, well, I did it because, the devil made me do it, or I'm doing this because God, I gave charity or whatever because God made me do it, or, the good in me made me do it, or God told me to do this and God, or the devil told me to do that, right? You are not responsible. You don't want to be responsible for the choices you make, because then somebody's going to ask you, why did you do that? Why did you do this with this woman? Why did you do that with that woman? Why did you put your hands on that person? Why did you take that person's life? Why did you give that person money and donate money to that? What was the reason? You don't want to be responsible for the answer. So God and the devil steps in. They're your scapegoats. They're your scapegoats away from the rationale of who you really are, whether you're moving on a submental level or on a higher or omni-mental level. Submental, omni-mental, meaning all mental, continuously mental. That's how Amen moves. That's how the Amen race moves. Pure logic, pure intelligence. Beyond God, beyond the devil, beyond spirituality, beyond all these ritualistic things. Beyond this. This is how you become a supreme race of people. This is how they were able to create solar systems and planets and, and cause alignments and destroy whole structures. Notice the whole purpose, the whole principle of everything was based on fire. Right? Everything is based on fire. When I say Amen is a solar being and that we carry souls within us as so-called, quote-unquote, black people, we carry soul. So much so that people recognize us before we even recognize them. When they said we were soul people, the white man and the other race said, y'all got soul, or y'all soul people, and we move different, and our hair grows up in a levitational lift because of the heat that's in our body that causes a rising, because as I said, heat causes rising because of the soul in our body. We got this fire moving through us that's not moving through the human race. We're the soul people. We are the Amen people. We're not of the human race. The accounts of God and the devil were taken from a real person, an Amen being, one who produced the ones, one who produced the ones. The ones are the people who are moving collectively as one, where there are no two. There is no dualistic mentality. There is no dualistic nature. That came from man. That came from man who could not understand the one beyond mathematics. Because once you get past one and you say two, that starts mathematics. One deals with pathmatics. One mental path, one people. There's nothing to add to that. It's only one. One mentality. There's no room for God and the devil. We move past that. We beyond that. That's the submental thinkings of man and his spiritual mindset, his watered-down version of Amen. The elect, or the bright ones, are ready to accept the reality of Amen as who we are, solar beings, those who are in a state of becoming the one, or the elect, the chosen. Those are the people who will breed the ascendants, or the God race, or, the supreme beings, the advanced ones. Like I said, we're trying to create a God-free zone here, because we don't want to vibrate on that submental religious thing. So excuse me if it slips from time to time. Because my assistant one day, he said to me, you know what, people tired of hearing about God. And I said, me too. I've been tired of hearing about it. But I said, well, I felt we had to do that in order to bring our people, raise our people to a certain level. Because, like I said, the minute you say God, there's the devil. They go hand in hand. That's that dualistic principle that we're trying to get away from. We're moving as an omni-force, a unimental force of Amen beings, a continuous force of advanced beings, right? People who are in that stage of evolving and transmitting or receiving transmission people who are not in submission to the whole God principle and the devil principle and spirituality, but people who are in transmission to the one, Amen. That solar intelligent being that lives in us as we are advancing, as we are evolving, as we are coming together collectively to produce that one. You're supposed to be producing the one, whether it's in your children, whether it's in you, whether it's in a state or a new nation or a people. You're supposed to always be focused on producing the one. What do I mean by that? I mean that we're supposed to be producing the ones who are perfected in their thinking, who are omnimental, unimental, one mind, one body, one continuous thought, all-encompassing thought. Because in order for you to become all-encompassing thought, you have to kick it up and turn on your brain power more and channel in reception in order for you to start doing things or advancing. That's the light that we kept talking about cutting back on in our people, because we've been in darkness. We've been in darkness by beliefs, superstition, God and the devil, spirituality. We are solar people, not spiritual people. We are solar people, not spiritual people. We don't house spirit and soul. We only house soul. We are mind, we are body, we are soul. Those three. The human race is spirit because they vibrate on a submental frequency. As I said, spirit denotes, or spiritual denotes, a people who are in a zombie-like trance. Right? Spirit is a people who are in a zombie-like trance, who are programmed to think on a submental level. That's why you have so many people follow religion. You have so many Christians, you have so many Muslims, you have so many Israelites, because you control them mentally. They vibrate on your submental frequency. You govern their mind. You govern their mental on a submental frequency. You govern their mind by way of God and the devil and spirituality. That's how you're able to do that. When our people are not focused on that anymore, when we are becoming responsible for who we are, becoming responsible for our actions, for our thoughts, that is the producing of a supreme people, a people who will start advancing. See, the black race is in this state they in right now as a people is because they want somebody else to be responsible for what they do. It's the white man, it's God, it's the devil, it's always somebody else. See, when it's somebody else, that's the generic answer on why you're doing what you're doing. That's the generic answer. See, you can give the generic answer on what you're doing as long as you got a scapegoat, as long as you got the white man, as long as you got God, as long as you got the devil, as long as you got the church, the men, whatever. But when you are called upon to answer for your actions, to be judged for your actions, to judge yourself, then you become that omni being. You start transforming into that omni being, that almond being, that bright one. You start going from black man and black woman to bright man and bright woman. The intelligence starts to click on because the rationale kicks in. You start thinking again on your own. You're not asking, you're not looking for the white man to tell you, or any other man. I don't care if it's the white man, the black man, the East Indian man. You're not looking for them to co-sign on what it is you're thinking. Or is it right? You know it's right based on logic, because the truth is logical. You don't have to be there to see what happened and what took place. The truth is logic. And logic is the truth. Because everything works in a biological, functional order here. A linear state of biological, a linear state of logical order. All intelligence flows that way. All intelligence flows in a linear state of logical order. That's why I say when I talk about things and I make these statements I make, and it's not popular statements, it's not statements the white man is making anybody else. When I make these statements I make, people can always see the logic in what I'm saying. That denotes a people who are thinking. That's a people who are thinking beyond the spiritual, who are thinking outside the box, because they're able to keep you in the box by getting you to think in a spiritualistic circle of rituals, customs, traditions, God, the devil. But when you think as an omni-being, one who is all thought, continuous thought, then everything is under the microscope. Everything is under the rationale. Everything is under the rational microscope. That's how Amen grows. That's how Amen advances. That's how Amen beings are receiving transmission. That's how they are receiving transmission, because their minds are tuned in to continuous thought, continuous rationale. They don't want that in religion. They don't want our minds tuned into continuous thought and continuous rationale. I said on Facebook, we got to go from black nationalism to bright rationalism. That's going to be the show Friday. That's going to be the broadcast Friday, from black nationalism to bright rationalism. Right? That's what we producing in the state of Mentel. We're producing thinkers. We say, in Amen we think. In Amen we trust, in Amen we think. That's us. That's not a spook God. We don't even deal with God anymore. That whole God thing, like I said, that's done. We done with that. We done with God and the devil. That's for submental people. That's for primitive people. We move beyond the primitive mindset. We move beyond the primitive spiritual mindset and the spirituality and all that talk. We move beyond the spookism and all that nonsense. We've always been beyond it, but I thought we had to go back in order to move our people forward. But as Nuben Menkarayzs received an epiphany on the 3rd of March, a day ago, it's time to move on from the God thing. Our people are ready for so much more, real things. But we have to be responsible. We have to put away childish thoughts and childish behavior and spiritual-minded nonsense. We have to put away God and the devil, just like you had to put away your toys as a children and grow up. Be responsible people. Be all-encompassing and thinking people. People who are rationalizing everything, who are looking for the rationale in everything. As a biological people. As a biological people. As a people who think in a linear order. Straightforward and ahead as one. As one unimental force, as one omnimental force. As an Amen race. When I said our people are the Amen race, not the human race, I said logically you could see we not like these people. You had black folks, so-called Negroes up here arguing with me about, oh, well, brother, you making this up. Where you getting this from, brother? You talking about we ain't human. Don't hue mean color and this, that, and the third? Ain't we come from the monkey just like the human? Ain't we human? I said you can logically look at us and tell we not part of the human race. Look at our hair. Look at our skin. You think we like these people? Duh. Is it any wonder why they treat us like outcasts? Because we are outcasts. We are an omni race. We are a continuous race. Our origin is not here. Our origin is beyond here. They can't find where we start because we are those Amen beings. Some of you want to fit in so bad that you'll discard the truth, which is right in front of your face, which is logically in front of your face, because you want into this whole human experience. You want to stay in the submental. You want to stay with God and the devil and all this illogical stuff, and don't want to be questioned about it, because in being questioned about it, you have to answer. You have to answer for your actions or your inactions, your reactions. The fact that you're not in a state of evolution, that you think this is normal for us to keep saying the same thing over and over again in a ritualistic mindset. You think this is natural. You think this is normal for us. This is not normal for us. This is abnormal. We're not supposed to be saying the same things and following the same rituals as the humans. We're supposed to be moving in a linear state of intelligence. Look at us. I ask you again, look at us. And rationally tell me that we like these people. That we supposed to be under the same so-called belief in God and the devil as these people. Or any of these things that we follow in today. If you can logically say that, then there's something wrong with you. If you can logically say that, there's something wrong with you. We'll be right back. People accuse me again of trying to start a religion. Well, let me tell you something. You can't start a religion without a God or the devil. There is no God and no devil. So how am I going? I really can't start a religion now. but you can start an order or a bright supremacy of intellectuals. I've been saying this is an order or an almond order or omni-mental order of mentalians, people who are the almond race, who are living a intelligent or a intellectual lifestyle, a way of life, not people who are looking to get their minds blown. You know, those that only the brain dead look to get their minds blown. They look for excitement. The people who are looking for a state of transformation, they're looking to change their lives. They're looking to become responsible. They're looking to start having their actions judged by themselves, right? That's how you start the transformation, right? That's how you start to advance in your intelligence, becoming those greater almond beings, because we already almond beings. Those who choose to go and become submentals, they're vibrating on a human frequency. They're under the God and the devil principle. And our people can sit up here and say all they want. Oh, I don't believe in no religion. If you follow metaphysics, you under God and the devil. I'm going to say it again. If you following Pan-Africanism, you under God and the devil. If you following Egyptology and all those things of the past, you under God and the devil. All of that. If you following spirituality, I'm spiritual, you under God and the devil. You under that whole principle. You under that whole submental, limited way of thinking. You're not a omni-mental being, because omni-mental beings are always open for reception. They're always clearing their minds out. They're always making themselves blank to receive, because we know we're supposed to be open receivers. There's no, oh, I know that. Ain't no, I know that. We always opening to receive, always open for greater intelligence that's constantly streaming through. We are the receivers of that as omni beings or omni-mental beings, right? Because all things that were created, everything that you're looking at is based on intelligence. Everything that you see in existence, all matter, and the placing together of matter and atoms, right, and elements, elemental, all these things are based on intelligence. Knowledge, the ability to do things and think on a higher level, to be receivers of this intelligence. These are all based on that. Everything you're looking at is based on intelligence. So when I hear the black man talking about, what are you talking about, intelligence? That's because the black man and the black woman still dealing with mystery and spookism. They still dealing with God and the devil. Whether you calling yourself, like I said, the people can sit up here and all they want. 5% can sit up there. Everybody can sit up here and say there's no spook God, but you believe in a spook God, because you still, the fact that you still talking about God and the devil, but proves that you believe in a spook God. The fact that you still using those terminologies. Don't know where they came from. The fact that you still caught in that, and when you use a certain terminology, whether it's any kind of terminology, whether you give a meaning to it, you're trapped in by that word. You're trapped in by that word. You can't think beyond that word. You actually fooled yourself into believing that that word is all-encompassing and that it's universal when it's not. God and the devil is not universal. That was an idea, a submental, limited idea that was created right here on earth of some dualistic being or beings that are separate, when they're actually, when you get beyond all that, it's actually one supreme being, right? One supreme being, one man, one woman with personalities, different personality traits, people, persons, people who are personifying, people who are moving forward once they understand that. So they don't have no more need for spiritual talk. They don't have any more need for moving in rituals and rotation, because they realized that it was all meant to be a hypnotic mindset that was placed over the people, a hypnotic submental mindset put on the people by those who govern your mental. If you know what I'm saying, those who govern your mental. They placed that spiritual mindset on you, and it started going back all the way to the church, which was the first government. That was your first government before church and state separated. They placed that whole idea of God and the devil in your head to get you to run you into religion. How do you steer sheep into something? By using prods and cattle prods and sheep prod and things to push them and they looking at the man who got the cattle prod or the sheep and the prod where they burn them and brand them. They looking at you like that person that's doing that to them, torturing them, that's the most worst person that's behind them. So I'm going to run to the people that are better for me, the people where I'm not getting burned, I'm not being chastised. So that's the same way religion works. That's the same way God and the devil works. They present the devil to you to run you toward God, right? And those who get tired of God, they run to the devil, back and forth. But these are people of a limited mindset. All the things you engage in the society, spirituality, Pan-African, all these things that you engage in, if you just in dealing with American pop culture, that's all still based on God and the devil. There's no getting away from that unless you clear your mind out, unless you reprogram yourself, unless you totally wash your brain and start over. That's how you get away from God, the devil. Totally wash your brain of all the things you have accepted, because all the things, 9 times out of 10, all the things you've accepted in this society were not based on logic. And if they were not based on logic, then they were not supposed to be taking up space in our heads. God and the devil are not based on logic. It's illogical. It's illogical to think that you have two characters, but one is all bad and one is all good. That don't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. What makes sense is that these are just personalities housed in a person, an omni-person, an all-encompassing, all-thinking person. That's where the power lies. See, because if I can con you into believing in that ritual or that spiritual way of thinking, if I can con you into believing in God and the devil, then I got control of your mind. I know how far you're going to think and how, because I'm looking at you based on your religious practices or rituals of your culture and the things that you've accepted based on the limitation of what I taught you. So I know how far you're going to go. If I taught you about God and the devil, then I know how far you're going to think. That's how come the so-called black man is always controlled in this society, and the black woman, because everybody knows the limitation of your thoughts. Because y'all are the most God-fearing, devil-fearing people on the planet. Even when you're not talking about religion, you still are housing religion in your mind. You're still working on rituals. You're still working in certain limited ways of thinking that you are not willing to let go and go beyond that. You're not willing to let it go. So you're still working off of a God and a devil principle, whether you know it or not. You're still working off of a religious principle because you're not willing to wipe your mind clean. You're not willing to wipe your slate clean and start blank and be an open receiver for a unimental force of intelligence, an omni-force of intelligence that is supposed to be flowing through you naturally, continuously, from your ascendants, your children, your grandchildren, those who are already existing in future state. Because I said all intelligence flows from the future, not from the past. Getting us to look back at ancestors, like I said, that's that whole God and the devil thing again. That's part of it too. Intelligence flows from the future, and your mind is always supposed to be in the future, not in the past, not in the present, but in the future, continuously. That's how you move forward. That's how you think ahead. That's how you think outside the box. That's how you become more a greater omni-mental being. Then you start to understand how the universe got here. You're able to answer questions on how atomic atoms and molecules and all these things and elements were placed together, how they were beamed here, how life started in water, how the aquatic ape was planted here in the water and grew out of the water. Same way they call it procreation when a man puts his seed in a woman who is supposed to represent the water. When she forms the amniotic sac around the child, it's the same principle. That's why they call it procreation. It's an artificial or produced creation when the humans live it out. But that creation had to be started from something. It had to be started for something much grander, something bigger. So they seeded the water with human life, aquatic ape, which we're going to talk about Wednesday. But if you're in a God mentality, if you're in a God mindset, and a devil mindset, you won't think that far. See, black people don't think that the creation and growing into something or transforming into something. They don't see it being a process. This is what God and the devil do for black people, how it limits your thoughts. Let me show you. Black people, when our people expect to get rich overnight, you know how the white man always coming to our people with money marketing schemes and mid-level marketing schemes and all the scams to get us to spend money over, or by telling us that you can get rich quick overnight and all this other stuff. Or when young boys was getting up and selling crack and trying to get fast money and things like that. Why do we got this mentality in our head that it's all about getting money fast and whatnot instead of building something, right? Over a time period, working towards something and building something to acquire that wealth. Why do we got that? Because we believe that everything, we started believing in this whole God and devil nonsense where everything was popping, it was here. That's how they started that in us early, where we didn't believe, or we started saying, oh, we don't have to work for nothing. Because if God just popped everything here, then obviously there's a way we could just pop something here and it could happen. We don't have to work toward that. We don't see that it was a process. And that's the real way everything came into existence, by way of a process, by way of a transformation from one thing to something else. But it had to start with something. That's why we don't sustain any wealth. That's why we ended up in jail, because we're trying to chase a mysterious pop or a principle that's going to produce something. When it's all about progression. When they brainwashed us, or should I say, they brain stained our people with this nonsense of God and the devil, that was a process. They didn't just do that and that just popped in. It was a process. And we don't want to go through the process. We don't want to go through the transformation. That's a lifestyle. We have to live as an intelligent people to start the transformation. The transformation starts when you empty out your way of thinking. When you turn in that clean slate, when you drop all these beliefs in the gods and the devils and the spirituality and all these old things of the past and start with a clean slate, that's when you start and totally wipe out all that emotional nonsense that you've been vibrating on, that the humans move on. When you're ready to totally do that, then you'll start to see the transformation. So see, our people, we don't want to change anything because we've been taught that everything is supposed to be pop overnight. Like people will say to me, oh, well, brother, you teaching this, that, and the third. How, I want to know how I could just zoom out of here and do this, that, and the third. I want to know how I could astral project into the universe and then come back. For what? Why do you want to do that? See? The absence of why. See? No reason. I just want to do that just because I want to get my mind blown. Why? You don't want to transform here. You don't understand that transformation is a process. Becoming that supreme being, to understand how these things were done, how these things were put into motion, is time consuming. Right? It's a process. That's why the earth was made in dimensions. Dimensions are how you store time. Dimensions are how you store time and space. Because in a time and a space, you're meant to receive a certain level of knowledge that goes in line or in alignment with the planet. That's your mathematics. But if you're moving through it as one, then you start to eliminate the time frames. But there's still a process. There's still a process. There's still progression, because you're still limited by your thoughts. You're still limited by these beliefs. You haven't changed. Because when people say to me, oh, well, brother, why it can't happen overnight? I'm tired. Like I said, you live this. This is not something where you could jump in and pop and that's it. This is a life. This is a way of life. People live a way of life to get where they get in the world. They prepare themselves to live a certain way. Our people don't want that. They want to still be in the submental. They still want to be under that submental mindset, doing the same old things. But then they want to talk about they want to transform and they want to be supreme beings, and but they're not willing to change. They're not willing to clean their mind. They're not willing to clean the slate. They're not willing to be brainwashed. Right? They're not willing to be brainwashed. They want to stay with the same old things. So there's no evolution for those people. There's no evolution for those people. There's no omni-mental force that's going to guide them forward, because they're not going to be connected to it. There's no reservoir of intelligence there. the most powerful energy on the above the planet is your sun. Grows things, messages are transported through that sun, and we are solar beings, and we're supposed to be charged through the sun. Some of us are being charged through the sun, and I feel it, right? That sun, right, is a light that is used to send messages, project things. Projection. Same way you have a projector, as I said, that shows pictures. That's the same way the sun works. It's a projector. It projected soil. It projected certain minerals into the ground, right? It projected certain time frames for and created heat on the planet to cause the growing of things because heat makes things rise. Projection. That's what the sun is. It's supposed to project something in us as almond beings, as solar beings who carry a solar energy in our chest called the solar plex. It's a solar complex that moves, and that energy or that light is supposed to move through us, right? As we are evolving as almond beings, as we are receiving a knowledge in real time that we are supposed to be in a state of evolution as almond beings, that we're supposed to sever the human connection or the tie and believing that we are the same as these people, because we're not. It's obvious. But you can't show the obvious to people who are caught in a submental trance, who are caught between the God and the devil, because in the whole teaching of God and the devil, we all one people. We all are one people. According to the teaching of God and the devil, we all one people. Right? In submission, which means in submental trappings. When they say you in submission to God, they really mean you in submental trappings to their belief. They got you. They got you in a spiritualistic way of thinking. You could be an atheist, but you still trapped in by God and the devil. It don't matter. It don't matter if you're an atheist. It don't matter if you're an agnostic. It don't matter. You still trapped in by that. Because anything out your mouth after that is still based in ritual. It's still based in God and the devil. I don't care what you say. I don't care if it's metaphysics and all that. It's still based in God and the devil. Because who are the humans? The humans house the whole belief of God and the devil. They can't get behind the whole intelligence of Amen. They can't. That's why they have to break it in two. It's like children when you give them a piece of meat or a piece of something that's too much for them to digest. What do? They start to cut it up. Same way mankind cut up Amen. They cut Amen up because they can't enhance. They can't take Amen in. Same way they can't take the sunlight and they can't take this that solar intelligence in. So they have to cut him in two. They have to call him, part of him, the devil, and he exists in a place called hell, which is hot. And they have to call the other part of him God, right, who exists in a place on high, in the clouds, above the earth. You see how they cut it in half? See how they cut him in half? See how they cut us in half? The higher self, they cut us in half, right, to create two characters to control us mentally. And it has worked. We've fallen for it. Our people are supposed to be becoming that omni-mental force, that all-encompassing force, encompassing all personality, utilizing all personality based on logic, based on intelligence. That's how true supreme beings work. We think above good and evil. We think above God and the devil. We think above good and bad. We think above love and hate. That's how omni beings work. That's how Amen beings work. That's why you'll sit up here and say, "Oh, damn, I don't know why, why the Creator or God or whoever you refer to, why was my son killed, or why did my daughter die, or why did this, that, and the third." You're looking at it from an emotional standpoint or view. You're not looking at it from an intelligent one. Now, I know, you miss people and you have a sentimental connection to people, but you don't look at it on a higher level. You don't look at it from a mental view. You look at it from a religious view. God or the devil or whoever took that person from you, right? Because that's how they play on your emotions. They play on your happiness and your sadness by initiating God and the devil, that dualistic principle to you. When you're supposed to be tuned in as one, all omni-mental force, one who is personifying reception, mentelic reception, one who is personifying that, all thinking, all rationale, all judgmental. You're supposed to be taking that in. You're supposed to be questioning yourself. You're supposed to be judging yourself by way of rationale, by way of thought, by way of intelligence. See, like I said, when you dealing with the God principle and the devil principle and religion and spirituality and culture, you don't do that. You leave it to others to do that for you. That's why you under the judgment and you under the judgment. You under the control of others, of the beast. You under the control of the beast because you refuse to stand up and judge yourself. You refuse to stand up and chastise yourself. You refuse to stand up and rationalize your behavior. Really rationalize it. No, you want a scapegoat. How can you be a supreme being when you look for a scapegoat? How the black man gonna talk about he quote unquote God or supreme being or whatever, but then every time they're out your mouth is the white man? It's never you. Because you vibrate on that God and devil thing. Black and white, God and the devil, hate and love. We ain't thinking on that level. I said we moved to the bright race. We're trying to move into that era of the bright race, the almond beings, the ones who vibrate on pure intellect, pure intelligence, rationale, judgment, bright rationalism, advanced thinking, omni-mental force, unimental force, constant thought, constant action, movement of thought, movement of matter. That's what our focus is as the bright race, as the state of mental, as the mentalians. Not a black people, not a people in darkness who still move by that whole nonsense of God and the devil and black and white. We're not moved by that anymore. We've outgrown it mentally. It's outlived its usefulness. We've moved on. We are solar beings, not spiritual. We deal with solidarity. We deal with solar energy, solar force, as soul beings, mind, body, and soul. It's all connected as one. We've left the spiritual realm. We've left the ritualistic realm. They lied to us and tried to get us to think that spiritual was some way higher than the physical. That's a lie. That's all a lie fed to you through God and the devil. That's a big lie. Spiritual is nothing but special rituals that they've gotten you to follow. Prayer, fasting, meditation, sitting on the damn floor like a pretzel with your legs folded because you saw some white man or some Hindu do it. And you didn't say why. You didn't say why. Why am I doing this? Why am I on my knees? What kind of supreme being cares if I'm on my knees begging him or her or whatever or it? Who cares? Man cares, because every time you do that, every time you get on your knees, you're showing them that you are praying or made yourself pray to their beliefs. You've made yourself pray to their beliefs, to their customs, to their rituals or their special rituals. You are bowing down to their rituals and their beliefs and their things, their lies that they made up. That's what you're showing every time you do that. You've been beaten mentally. It's always been a mental game. And the black man and the black woman have lost. And you will continue to lose as long as you are referring to God and the devil. Black and white, calling yourself black men and black women. Still dealing with this Africa and Islam and Egypt and all this other stuff. That's all still in metaphysics and whatever we're dealing with from the old. Still based in God and the devil. We moved on. We have moved on. And it's time for us as a people to move on collectively as one unimental force. We can't move forward with people who are still caught in God and the devil and spirituality and nationalism, believing that you actually come from one limited space. Wake up. Think up. Think out. Think up and think out. Think beyond your box. Think beyond your spiritual nonsense. We'll be right back. When they come to our people with religion, notice they always come to our people when they're in the most ignorant or desperate state. They came to our people in Africa when, they was jumping around. A lot of the people, our people who was amongst the Africans was jumping around. They come to the tribal people. They'll come to us in the hood, right? When y'all ain't got no food in the hood, the religious people come and they feel like, if I can feed them, then they'll follow or listen to anything I say if I feed them. They always come to our people when we at our lowest, when our consciousness is low, when we open to receive anything from these people. That's when they come to you with God and the devil. That's when they come to you with religious belief, right? They get you to try to accept their beliefs, right? They never come to us and try to reach out on our level of intelligence. They want to try to get us to believe something. We always dealt how the almond beings dealt was with rationale and judgment. Rationale and judgment. That's how the almond beings dealt. That's how the almond race moves, rationale and judgment. Some of that is still in our people today, rationale and judgment. You did something. Why did you do that? And based on, if you didn't have a logical reason why you did that, I don't know. Because they say that's big in this society. Notice that. I was just going through problems, which is usually some emotional garbage, right? Or some submental reason, and they got all kinds of answers for why people are mentally dysfunctional or overly emotional, because over emotion or too much emotion at all that's not geared in the right direction, which is supposed to be sentimental. Emotion or energy that's unchecked is illogical and a mental disorder. That is the problem of the human. That is the problem of the human race. Unchecked energy. Illogical, unchecked energy. Almond beings, their energy and logic is checked. The more you can check your energy, the more you can check your logic, the more you can make your actions or rationalize your actions based on real logic honestly, and judge yourself and chastise yourself and constantly look to make yourself better in your thinking, in your thought process, in your rationale. That is going to produce a transformation, because you're constantly working to make yourself better. Not, I want a secret answer to something, or what's the secret to this? Ain't no secret. You don't want to do the work, black man. You don't want to do the work, black woman. You don't want to change yourself. You don't want to open yourself up for transformation. You want to hang around the same people. You want to do the same things, but you want to have somebody give you a helping hand out of it, but you don't really want to get out of it. You want everything to pop overnight because you believe in the God and the devil thing, where God popped everything into existence, right? Yet it took 7 days according to the story. If everything was popped into existence right then and there, why did it take 7 days? That's all symbolic, talking about a process, a transformation, an evolution. That's why it's talking about time frames. It's a process. Same way we're going through a process in the state of mental to become or live an intelligent lifestyle, and to live this lifestyle, this intelligent lifestyle of mentellect, because that's what almond beings do as a race. That's what we do. We ain't looking for something to get our minds blown and then go back out in the world and smoke weed and act like the humans, or partake in the things they talking about, or do the things they do, or get caught up in the same people that we previously gave our time to. We're not doing that. We severing connection. This is about severing ties and connection and connecting to something higher. If you're not willing to do that, then don't listen to me. Don't listen to the intellectual Nuben Menkaris. Don't not listen to my broadcast. Now, like I said, if I was trying to be a radio host and I want to be popular, I wouldn't be telling you not to listen to me. You can go, like I said, like a lot of these so-called black conscious speakers are doing today. They telling our people, talking about all this beautiful conscious information, and and they're saying the same thing over and over again. This beautiful conscious information, and we from another planet, we from this, we from that. Okay, then what happens after that? After you teach our people that, we go home, we pay you the $25. Like I said, you're supposed to be providing it. Once you unveil some knowledge like that, you're supposed to be opening the door to evolve these people. Else you just talking into the air, you talking into the wind. It's like you screaming into an empty cave that's going nowhere, because now you're supposed to open the door to the evolution of our people. Once you drop some so-called information, or what you think is high level information on people, you're supposed to open the door to them where they can evolve together collectively. You're not supposed to send them the hell out of that room, and they still going to go home and smoke weed, or go to the projects, or the woman going to go out and whore herself, or be a conscious whore, or whatever she's doing, or the brother going to be smoking weed, avoiding his child support payment, whatever the hell y'all doing. You're still your old self. You go into these meetings to get your mind blown, but then you still coming out being your same old self. So basically you paying to be entertained by these people, and they just taking your money. Like I said, y'all got so much. You doing these radio shows, and you doing these radio broadcasts, whatever, and you doing these meetings, and you selling books and doing tours. What's the next step after your tour? What do you got planned for the people? How are you raising them mentally? What new identity are you giving them? Because they need a new identity. They need a new direction. They need new instruction. They need to be brainwashed. Yeah, I said it. They need to be brainwashed. Because you sending them back out in the world with the same nonsense, you understand, that they came into your class with. I'm sick and tired of hearing about, this person talking about the white man came from here, and the monkey, and this person came from here. How is that helping our people? I said we're going to do a broadcast on it only to logically tell our people the truth so that we can move on from that. We don't really care where they came from, but we do know. And we are trying to come together as an intelligent collective. We're not here to blow people's minds and take their money. We're trying to raise an intelligent race of people, a continuous race of people, as it is dictated in the Amen mentality, to keep a continuous bloodline, a linear intelligence flowing within the Amen race. Not the human race, the Amen race. Right? That's being dictated to us, those who are in tune. Those who are looking to live this as a way of life, an intelligent way of life. Those who are looking for real transformation and change. There can't be no real transformation or change until you've given up the old ways. Until you stop with the God and the devil nonsense. Till you stop with the spirituality talk. Till you stop with the Egyptology, the Pan-Africanism, the Moorish science, the 5%. All of this old stuff from the last millennium. Until you totally wipe the slate clean. But those of our people who are not looking for that, like I said, it's no offense to you if not telling you to stop doing what you're doing. Those of you who choose to stay in that God and devil mentality, that's for you. The bright ones, the ones who are of that evolution, that can see the bigger picture, that can see the light, that can see or feel the intelligence streaming through this atmosphere, feeling it. The people who feeling this, the people who this message is resonating to, that's for you. It's not for the majority of the black race. They've chosen to stay within the confines and the boundaries of God and the devil. I don't care how they try to slickify it and try to make it say, we don't believe in no spook God. The black man is God and the white man is the devil and man is God. Man, you still in the God and the devil thing. You still in religion. You still in spirituality. You still in philosophy. You still under the submental confines of the beast. I don't care how you try to remix it or try to put some new meaning on it. It's the same thing. You understand that? Same garbage. We're trying to move our people forward. We don't want his philosophy no more. We don't want your God and devil no more. Give it back. Give him back all of his teachings. Wipe the slate clean if you want to see true transformation take place. How many of our people are willing to do that? How many of our people are ready to open themselves for judgment? Transformation. How many of our people? Not many. You'll see that. You will see that. You'll see that many of our people are not willing to open themselves up for that. They'd rather come in and hate what I'm saying, But if it don't apply to you, you can stay within your confines. That's fine. You can stay within the confines of God and the devil. You can actually sit there in your little space of beliefs and think that that is universal. Your teaching is universal when it's not. You got black men sitting up here saying Islam is universal. Religion is universal. God is universal. The devil is universal. Yeah. To the submental people, that's universal. To the submental, they think on that submental universal mindset. Yeah, to the low thinkers, that's universal. But to the omni-mental beings, the solar intelligent ones, we move beyond that. That supersedes all of that and far surpasses all of that submental, limited way of thinking. Right? That's child's play. That's child's thinking. Right? Ignorant child's thinking. No, we moving on as a new race of people in the name of Amen, because we are the Amen race. I'm gonna take a couple of phone calls. Marcus Roberts, you on the air?
Hi, how are you doing?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually curious. I heard you mention the Amen people, and what exactly is an Amen person?
The Amen race is what you call the so-called black race. That's the Amen race. We're not part of the human race.
Oh. Could you explain a little bit more? Like, what is it? What exactly do you mean?
We are a different species of people. You have your human race, which encompasses your East Indians, your Asians, and your Caucasians. That is your Asiatic people. And you have your so-called black people who are not of the human race. You can look at us and tell that. We are totally different species. Now, your scientists have not admitted to that yet, but that's what it is. Okay?
All right. And do you believe that you, evolved normally on the Earth, or do you believe you're brought here by something else?
We came here. We are celestial beings, and we came here.
All right.
All right. Thank you. TD90. TD90.
Hi,
all right.
So you're talking about the almond race. There's a very good point you bring up, because there's a lot of obvious differences physically, with the differences between the Caucasians and the Hispanics, and they all have very, very different features. And I think it's interesting, about the scientists, because the almond race in particular, they say that there's a lot of differences even in the blood works. Like the red blood cells look like half crescent moon shapes instead of the full circular shapes like the Caucasian race has. And I thought scientists have to be pretty silly to miss some sort of evidence like that. Would you agree?
Well, I haven't heard about the crescent moon shapes and all that. That I haven't heard of. I have no knowledge of that. I'm going based on physical appearance, because what's dictated on the outside of how you look is obviously there's a difference in what's going on, because how you look on the outside is dictated by what's going on the inside. So obviously, if we're not the same on the outside, we can't be the same on the inside. Our hair grows up. Our hair grows up as that almond race of beings. Y'all hair as the humans, meaning the East Indians, the Arabs, the Caucasians, y'all hair grows down to the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious that black people are from a different galaxy. You can tell that a nigger would never be born on this earth.
Yeah, exactly. But an idiot would like you. Right.
Well, I disagree with that. I think niggers tongue mine. Niggers tongue mine.
Yeah, okay, well, like I said.
Niggers tongue mine.
Goodbye.
Niggers tongue mine. Niggers tongue mine.
Goodbye.
Niggers minus. Niggers tongue mine. Niggers tongue mine.
Goodbye.
Niggers minus. Niggers have pubes on their head. Niggers have pubes on their head.
Goodbye.
Niggers tongue minus,
we got some ignorance.
niggers tongue minus, niggers tongue minus.
Now this is a story all about how my laptop.
We got the idiots in here.
I'd like to take a minute to
as always.
How I became principal. A whistle for the cab, but when it came here, the license plates are fresh.
I'm trying to get the idiots off.
That was rap, but I thought now. Oh, to Bel-Air. Hi,
how you doing? Tim Flame.
Hey, I'm Tim.
Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spend my days, chilling out, maxing and relaxing, all cool and shooting some small outside.
We getting the idiots in today.
Started making trouble in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
757. We on the air.
Yeah, you can't. You know, somebody.
You got the demons. You got the demons in today. It's demons.
Yeah, you got somebody that's you know that's pretty well with the computers. You know what I'm saying? It's somebody that's that has some technology savvy that untagged into your call or whatever. You know, one thing that's funny. I don't know. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. One thing that's funny is that our people is not intelligent enough to infiltrate their private or their arena to do stupidity things like they do. You know, so when you kind of notice, like, when you're on a good track, because then now they coming. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't go into whatever Oprah arena, whatever arena of stupidity that they put out in the world. We can't infiltrate that and start doing things that interrupt. So you know that it hits a nerve when some type of computer geek, you know what I'm saying, has been calling in on your call for the last, week or so. You know what I'm saying? And, they're making it a point to try to interrupt the signal. But, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to share what the epiphany, the thing that came to me. All right,
you got to make it quick, bro.
I'm going to make it real quick. Yeah, I'm going to do this in 15 seconds. Look, it's to me, I think I put it on your post before, it's about the smell, all right? And when I say about the smell, and I don't even mean this on a surface level. I mean it's real deep, you know what I'm saying? If you get close enough to another being, what happens, the genes or so forth goes into the nostril, and then it goes into the body, and then it sends a signal to the brain. And, like, immediately you get some type of response, you know what I'm saying, of whether or not you foreign to each other. And when you're telling people about almond and humans, it's a different smell to me. It's a different smell it's a whole different aroma that we give off. And that's what I feel that is the conflict between, different beings. And I'm gonna leave it there. Like I can't really go in too much longer. You know what I'm saying? But to me, it's something deeper, and it deals with one of the senses to me. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not around these people and you can't take their smell, you know what I'm saying? Then to me, there's something goes to your brain that says, nah, we ain't the same, man. That's why we ain't around, and we aren't supposed to be around each other. You know what I'm saying? And I fall out on that.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
All right.
Take the next call in. All right. 510, you're on 512, you on the air?
Yes, sir. Man. Hey, I want to say thank you for the message. Thank you for answering my question. I moved to a different location. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, you're still breaking up, though. But I got to get these other calls in, brother. You have a quick question?
Man,
I got 7 minutes.
I got you, man. I'll link up with you later, but one question. I was like I was saying with the centralized thing. Is this just based in New York? Or are you?
No, we central in New York. We central in New York. We spreading out. The people who want to be members of this, that want to come together collectively with this, you have to come to New York. You have to make yourself seen if you want to become members of the state of Mintel, because we raising a new state of people collectively and this new intelligence. Okay.
All right, sir. Yeah, because I definitely make that happen, man. Because this is serious business.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you for the message, man. I love what you're doing. I'm spreading the word to everybody. Keep it going, brother.
Thank you, brother. See, I thank the brothers for calling in. This far outweigh the idiots that call in here and whatnot. They ain't got nothing else better to do. They sitting around playing with computers or playing with themselves. 719, you on the air?
Hey, what's up, brother? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You gotta make it brief.
Yeah, man. I just want to know your opinion on out-of-body experiences. Do you believe that they exist? They're spiritual out-of-body experiences like sleep paralysis, lucid dreaming, out-of-body experiences.
What do you want to know about it? Like, what do I think about it?
Yeah, I want to know if you think they're spiritual, like they're just connected to sleeping disorders, man. I just want to know what you think about it.
Okay, I'll take it off there. That's the question. All right. Yeah, that's like I said. That's your body traveling outward and whatnot. But you're still in this. We supposed to travel by nature outside of our body. When we're in a state of sleep. So we travel. By way of imagination. So we travel out outside of ourselves. Okay? All right. Last question, 510. My brother Reginald on the air. Reginald.
Peace, Nubin.
Peace. All right, peace, brother.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
Yeah, just quickly, man. I just want to commend you for, how you be battling these demons, man. There's a lot of demented people out here, man.
And they always, you notice they always draw to my broadcast. They always draw to my broadcast. They don't go to nobody else. I don't think they go to nobody else. They always come here. Because, like I said, just like the omni-mentals are being raised up, like I said, the beast, the white one, the black one, they want you to stay in a place. They want you to, if we was up here talking about stupidity and hip-hop and whatnot, they wouldn't come here. They'd be like, oh, that's what we expect. But when you start talking about stuff like this, which they feel is their realm, they want to come here and be demons. And they show their stupidity all the time. That's why I said, when I start to even hear it, I pick it up. I'm going to just hang up on them. I'm not even going to take that anyway. So, but listen, I got like 4 minutes left.
Hey, do your thing, man.
All right, thanks.
But I'll get at you later.
All right, them cards is coming. We redid them. They coming to you.
Okay, for sure. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, peace.
Peace. All right. Okay. We at the end of our broadcast. James Russell, hurry up. You got to be quick. James Russell.
Niggas tongue my anus.
All right, there you go. Idiot. All right. Idiot's gone. All right. That sound, and unfortunately that sound like the black man.
Daddy, we playing.
Niggas tongue my anus.
Yeah, and that, like I said, or it might be the white man. It don't matter. And they playing with the computer, like I said.
Stop. Hey, okay.
Right.
Give me that bell, Keenan.
Right.
Give it. You don't have it. You don't have it.
Right.
Stop it. What are you doing?
All right. Idiot going. All right. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkar's. We've come to the end of our broadcast. Like I said, we've proven that we put an energy into the intelligence of our people, because when the intelligent ones of our people come, the ignorant ones come as well, black and white. So, they could be doing something else, but they choose to come here and make idiots of themselves. So we're not going to be deterred. The intelligence is moving on in the name of Amen, the supreme and most powerful. I want to thank those of you who came out tonight to listen. I am the intellectual Nuben Menkar's. This has been State of Mental Radio. What do I want to close with? Got to close with some music. Let me see. Something short, because we got like 2 minutes. Here we go. Shining Star, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Good night. See you on Wednesday.
It's the Republic of Mentellect, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the white race. If it's hell, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we can